in which I bring you. It's complicated.
Today I bring you Ode de Toilet. Everyone loves a good poop story. Even those that say they don't are secretly stifling a huge growing balloon of mirth as they struggle to maintain a straight face and screw up their noses at all things poop. Having declared that, like all traditional stories and murder investigations, let's start at the very beginning. What's that? Murder investigations start with the crime and then work backwards? Well, that is still called moving forward while facing backwards, which facilitates the investigation moving forward. See? You know I'm right. Well, to start at the very beginning, poop is older than any fact in history that you would have read about. Heck, it's older than civilization itself, because even before the Neanderthals, our hairier, stooped-over ancestors were doing this one thing: pooping. I wonder what they would have thought of it then. I mean, it's one of the 4 basic urges. While eating is something our ancestors would have done consciously, spotting food, hunting, plucking, or digging it, chewing and swallowing it, pooping would have had them completely bewildered. I mean, without them doing anything consciously, they would have just felt the urge and seen this mysterious substance emerging from one end of them from time to time. Like a child explores things in his immediate environment by touching and tasting, there would have been a fair amount of that to begin with, before them realizing that it's best discarded and creating a distance from. Stretching the argument, I don't think it would be incorrect to say that poop can be regarded as the origin of all arts and science. Observing, analyzing, deducting, and forming a theory about it would have made it one of the first samples up for scientific inquiry. I say up figuratively, as it would have always been seen down on the ground, unless the aforementioned ancestor was halfway up a tree when the sample dropped, in which case it could have started a new a branch of investigation, so to say. So yes, Neanderthal poop played a major role in humans developing a scientific temperament. Then there would have been the artistic aspect of it. Here was something which defied being categorized with having a specific shape and color. And just this aspect would have made it so fascinating. They say that no 2 sunsets are alike. Well, no 2 poops are either. This would have been enough to not cause a dip in curiosity about it over years and ages, and staring at something created by his own self would have sown the seed for 2 vital aspects of being civilized: the ability to create and appreciate art. It's a different matter that there is a large percentage of the population now which can do neither and only buys it. But I'll keep that story for some other time. When language developed, however rudimentarily, and before governments and wars and inflation and terrorism appeared on the horizon, people would have exchanged notes about how they hunted and what they ate on a regular basis. What is surprising is that topic continues to be pretty hot even now. The only difference being, now instead of hunting and digging, people talk excitedly about the most satisfying gastronomical experiences, or exchange notes about where they can get the best kebabs or the most amazing desserts. This is amusing enough, but I groaned when some years ago a friend waxed eloquent about a magical herbal concoction which aided evacuation at the nether end of the alimentary canal. It was horrifying to realize that even after the Stone Age, the Bronze Age, the Iron Age, the Precambrian, the Paleozoic, the Mesozoic, and the Cenozoic eras, an iPhone 4S, 6S and 12 Pro Max, what went in and what and how it came out from the body continued to be important topics. You would not be wrong in inquiring why this non-touchy subject is the topic for today's episode. Well, and actually this is the beginning of this episode. What came before was a prologue. This burst of inspiration came from something quite mundane. That's usually the case, isn't it? It was the mundane falling down of the apple which set Isaac Newton thinking, and it was a mundane gazing at birds circling high above that set men aspiring to do the same. While on this, it wasn't the Wright brothers, but a woman, an English baronet from the gloomy moors of Yorkshire, who conceived a flying machine with fixed wings, a propulsion system, and movable control surfaces. The fundamental concept of an airplane. But that story some other time. So coming back to the mundane happening that set off this chain of thought, it was a partial bathroom renovation. We moved into a house where the WC in one of the bathrooms needed replacing. My husband, who often exhibits complete and blind faith, no, not in me, but in plumbers, electricians and shopkeepers, never once doubting their word and taking what they say as gospel truth, wanted to rush through this too. But I'm a bit like the hard-working ant or the needlessly curious squirrel. So I like to nosedive into some basic research instead of taking someone's word for something as important as a WC. So on my instruction, General Google laid out the intelligence gathered on the subject. Under sanitary ware, there were several brands listed, classified into the best 30 and the best 10. Of course, I went for the latter. As I scrolled down the first brand, I was impressed to see it had won platinum and gold awards and offered a range of products. Apart from showers, toilets, sinks and faucets, it also included lavatories, suites, accessories and fittings. Somehow, juxtaposed with suites and accessories, lavatories sat with the haughty coolness of lavender. In an over-eager attempt to emphasize its greatness over others, almost like humans, it also claimed to have thoughtful designs. Seriously, I thought, as a vision of Rodin's Thinker flashed on the mind screen, and before I could stop it, the squirrely part of my mind grabbed it and sprinted across a new branch, squealing in mirth. Oh, okay, dear listener. After you have listened to this episode, I want you to look at an image of the famous thinker again. What do you see? All these years I saw an exquisitely crafted male form, hunched over, pondering, brooding, thinking. But suddenly, the silly squirrely part of my mind has, unassigned by me, let me clarify, thrown up a completely different picture. It's like, that sketch which I'm sure you would have seen variations of, where it looks like that of an old woman. And try as you might, you can't see the young woman which someone else is seeing in it. And then, in a flash, you see the young woman. And then, that's all you see. The old woman has vanished. So it is that when I now look at the image of the thinker, I see a naked man hunched over on the pot. I know it's spotty of me, but please, I implore you, see for yourself. And it doesn't help to know that Rodin himself said this about the figure. A naked man seated on a rock, his fist against his teeth, he dreams. The fertile thought slowly elaborates itself within his brain. He is no longer a dreamer. He is, wait for it, a creator. A creator! And what do you create sitting in that posture? Elementary, my dear Watson. As I scrolled down the list, another brand caught my eye which promised several product options, including water heaters, faucets, washroom accessories, showers, flushing systems, and lighting. Lighting! I smiled gleefully. This was truly amazing. Imagine ordering recessed Simon lights in the floor near your feet. Great for those days when you want to spend a longer time sitting there just to get away from whatever it is on the other side of the bathroom door. Of course, there is the danger that you may get carried away improving your memory with Simon and forget to, discharge the other, more basic duty you are there for. Okay, how about a spotlight which lights up the exact spot when you position your book, or maybe one with one of those flexi necks which can be adjusted depending on which part of the newspaper you're reading? Haha, no need to fold it to the size of a toast then. Or maybe they have a blue light installed within the body of the pot, which comes on the minute someone sits on it, making you feel as if you are sitting on a glowing blue throne. I could get used to that. I hope they have a turquoise or a teal. I made a mental note of checking on this detail with them. Another brand offered timeless appeal and warranties ranging from 1 year to a lifetime. You could contact them via their listed customer care number mentioned there. Now, I wonder how caring their customer care executives really are. I'm a bit wary, you see, because the world is full of people who routinely say, I care so much for you, or take care. And I'm never sure how to measure their care quotient based on these words. It set me wondering about a probable conversation with the customer care executive, which might go something like this. Good morning, ma'am. My name is Anirudh. How may I help you? Hello, Anirudh. I have recently had a WC of your company installed. Good choice, ma'am. Red flag, over-eager beaver. It was working fine, but I have a problem today. What is the problem, ma'am? Let me speak, Anirudh. The seat seems kind of cold today, unwelcoming. Ma'am, is the problem related to the bidet or the pot? I don't have a bidet. Okay. Ma'am, may I ask what temperature you have selected for the seat? Temperature? Selected? I say as my mind mouths, you may ask, but I may choose not to answer. Ma'am, don't you have our ultra-luxury Sayonara model? What the The squirrely part of the mind presents a rushed creative of me waving goodbye to the contents of the pot. Maybe this was part of buying the Sayonara model. Or maybe it applied to other models as well. That you have to wave cheerily after flushing. Maybe that's what I was missing doing. I made a mental note of remembering to read the instruction manual of products before tossing. My mind quickly started to serve up a visual of the corner of the shelf where such manuals lay buried, but it was rudely interrupted in this noble task by, who else? Anirudh. Oh, I see, he was saying, with noticeable disappointment bordering on contempt in his voice. I shoved the visual of the dusty manuals aside and proceeded to feel uncomfortable, bordering on guilty, at having betrayed Anirudh by choosing their economy model. And that's the mood my husband found me in when he walked into the room and asked, "So have you finished with your research? Can we order it now?" I said a hasty goodbye to General Google and his wonderful plans and resigned myself to my fate. After all, it was just a WC. I had nothing to lose but poop.